him. I tell him face to face. I've said it on the show. He went too far left for me often. But it is encouraging to see that in at least 3 places I can think of, he has moved it back to the center. But he's got a long way to go if he wants to do that. Relaunch it, rebrand it. But it would have to be somebody who is unapologetic about pulling them out. People have lost faith in the Democratic Party for very good reasons. You're the only one I hear who doesn't look like he cares what the other Democrats will say.
In a recent conversation with Stephen A. Smith, Bill Maher pointed to a key reason the Democrats keep missing their chance to course correct. What he shared lines up with concerns that several political observers have raised for a long time. It's not the explanation most people expect, but it's one that deserves attention. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and let's begin.
He's an actor, a comedian, a producer, a writer, and host of the hit HBO political talk show, Real Time with Bill Maher. The one and only Bill Maher is with me right now. What's going on, Big Time? How are you, sir? How's everything?
I'm not an actor.
Well,
Don't ever call me an actor.
I apologize.
I'm the opposite of an actor, like you. Actors are avoiding the truth and playing parts. We're real and telling what's real.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I correct myself. Thank you for the reminder. First of all,
I'm just messing with you.
I know.
At first glance, Maher's joke might seem like just another swipe at celebrity diet trends and Hollywood overindulgence. But when you look closer, it becomes clear that his real target is much nearer, his own political party. He isn't poking fun at famous faces for cheap laughs. He's sounding an alarm for Democrats who, in his view, have lost touch with everyday reality. For years, Maher has criticized his party for choosing symbolism, spectacle, and moral posturing over practical solutions that actually improve people's lives. He argues that they've become overly focused on putting on a show for social media and elite circles instead of addressing rising costs, safety concerns, and financial stress. The joke may get a laugh, but beneath it is real frustration. Maher's message is that a party obsessed with cultural gestures and clever one-liners struggles to govern effectively, and he believes voters are tuning out because of it.
I enjoyed myself. It's the best political show on television. I don't care what anybody says. But I would ask you this. When you look at Trump and some of the things that he says, what are you more concerned about in this day and age, Bill? Is it how the right feeds off of what he says, or is it how the left reacts to what he says? What has you more concerned at this particular moment in time as we just purview the landscape, look at our country and the state of affairs that's going on around here?
Well, I love it that you always what you were just saying before I came on about free speech, and you said, well, let's be honest, the left sort of courted this a little bit because they weren't exactly champions of free speech. So you always have to look at that. I mean, I know that the woke people don't like it that I do that, and maybe they don't like it that you do it either, but that is the reality. And I think we should all do it a lot more. Just be honest about both sides.
Maher has long cast himself as a frustrated insider, someone who still calls himself a Democrat but feels increasingly out of sync with where the party stands today. Time and again, he's argued that Democrats chase flashy gestures and symbolic wins instead of passing laws that tackle real problems, often mistaking showmanship for real results. According to Maher, the party has grown hooked on spectacle, carefully timed outrage, public virtue displays, and moments designed to earn applause. Meanwhile, everyday voters are focused on far more immediate concerns like jobs, housing, rising prices, and public safety. Beneath the playful tone of his joke lies a sharp critique wrapped in humor. Maher's real warning is that appearances have started to matter more than outcomes, and that shift hasn't gone unnoticed by the people watching from the outside.
Taking you a little more seriously for this is because the Democrats definitely need an outsider. I mean, I'm going to give you a little preview of something I'm working on that'll be on our show one of these weeks at the end as an editorial. To me, the Democratic Party is a ghost brand. You know what a ghost brand is? It's like Sears or...
He argues that the party's top contenders are so absorbed in modern ideological thinking that they struggle to connect with everyday voters or seriously challenge the president. In Maher's view, they come across as acting for effect rather than showing confidence, clear thinking, or real leadership. He believes this disconnect plays a major role in the party's repeated losses at the ballot box. Maher also says Democrats have let strict belief tests and activist-driven messaging outweigh common sense and broad voter appeal. Because of that, he suggests the party might gain more ground by backing an outsider, someone not shaped or restricted by the DNC's current habits. According to him, the path back to relevance likely depends on fresh leadership that breaks away from elite echo chambers and rigid internal thinking.
Abercrombie and Fitch, but they've really fallen on hard times. But they've been around for a long time, so there is value in it's an asset, right? Because there are still people who know of the company, and if you could have somebody take it over, who's not sentimental about that company and relaunch it, rebrand it, but it would have to be somebody who is unapologetic about pulling them out. People have lost faith in the Democratic Party for very good reasons,
Maher argues that the Democratic Party has drifted far from the stature it once held. In his view, while the party today may look flashy, loud, and dramatic, it often lacks real substance. He believes the DNC spends too much time talking in circles, recycling familiar slogans, and celebrating itself instead of offering workable answers to real-world problems. Over time, he says, this has caused many supporters to lose trust. There was a time when voters saw the party as a voice for practical thinking and working people. Now, Maher says, it's increasingly viewed as more focused on ideology and image than on steady leadership. He insists this loss of confidence is the party's deepest problem. It's not just about losing races, it's about fading importance. When people feel talked down to, ignored, or used, they check out. According to Maher, that growing sense of distance explains why so many Americans no longer feel connected to the DNC at all.
Right, I know.
I don't give a damn what they say. I
know. And it's somebody, I don't either. I'm right where you are. We're very close on all these things. And I think somebody with that kind of abandon is the only person who is going to win back former Democratic voters who have switched over.
But you also have faith in California Governor Gavin Newsom.
Maher paints a picture of the kind of leader he believes could reconnect with disengaged Democratic voters, someone who breaks away from the traditional party mold. He envisions an outsider unafraid to challenge party orthodoxy and unconcerned with appeasing the far-left faction. In Maher's view, this leader would reject activist-driven pressure and theatrical displays, focusing instead on practical solutions grounded in facts, real-life experience, and common sense. Such a candidate would tackle the issues that voters face every day, rather than getting lost in academic theories or abstract debates that don't resonate with most people. Maher argues that qualities like honesty, transparency, and the courage to push back against internal excesses could reinvigorate disheartened Democrats. For him, authenticity, not strict ideological conformity, is the missing ingredient, and only a reality-focused outsider can restore the party's credibility.
He's not exactly what I'm describing now. I think he'd be a great candidate, and he has shown in recent months the ability also to move to the center. He would have to do it a lot more, but as a candidate, he looks great. He's great speaker, very forceful, can be mean, which is really important, and he can do it. He also has the backing, or certainly should, of where the energy is in the Democratic Party, the far left, because he's been out front on a lot of very liberal issues, which I think is great. Gay marriage here in California and stuff like that, pollution, all sorts of stuff that we believe in. But he does have a long trail.
Maher has long been a vocal supporter of Gavin Newsom. Viewers have even seen him sit across from Newsom in interviews, telling him straight up that he believes he has presidential potential. That history makes Stephen A. Smith's question particularly tricky. In the end, Newsom doesn't fully fit Maher's vision of an outsider, someone detached from party culture and progressive agendas. Instead, Newsom is closely tied to the Democratic elite, its leadership circles, and its ideological branding. This puts Maher in a delicate spot. Should he continue to express his long-standing admiration or treat Newsom like he does every other politician? The tension in the moment makes the scene compelling, setting the stage for Maher's careful, measured response as he balances praise with pointed critique.
I told him face to face, I've said it on the show, he went too far left for me often. But it is encouraging to see that in at least 3 places I can think of, he has moved it back to the center. But he's got a long way to go if he wants to do that.
Do you think a far lefty can win a national election?
Maher believes Gavin Newsom's biggest obstacle right now is that he comes across as too woke. even though he has the potential to be a strong presidential contender in the future. According to Maher, Newsom carries too much ideological baggage and will need to shed some of it to be taken seriously on the national stage. He argues that Newsom should embrace pragmatism and moderation, since voters are tired of performative politics and endless culture war rhetoric. But the challenges go beyond perception. Maher points to the deeper structural issues tied to Newsom's record in California, sky-high taxes, a persistent homelessness crisis, and an oversized, cumbersome bureaucracy. These aren't abstract problems. For millions of Californians, they're daily realities. Without tangible progress in these areas, Maher suggests that Newsom's lofty national ambitions could remain just that, aspirations rather than practical achievements.
You mean like AOC?
Yes. I'm just whether it's what you said about Newsom, whether it's an AOC. I mean, do you think somebody like that can win a general election for the presidency of the United States in this day and age? I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I mean, that, anything is possible, and possibly it would excite a certain group of people who have not voted. And I mean, what if 80% of Gen Z voted? Could then a Mondami-like candidate win? I guess so, but I'm not expecting that to happen, and I don't think it's the smart bet for the Democrats. There was an article in the Atlantic this week about, the Democratic leadership keeps saying the Democrats should change course.
It's not guaranteed that 80% of Gen Z automatically leans far left. While that idea is common, it overlooks how unpredictable younger voters can be. Generation Z's votes could swing in multiple directions, especially after years of cultural friction and growing frustration with woke ideology. In response to what's been called the war on wokeness, many young people are starting to question narratives they once accepted without hesitation. Issues like affordability, jobs, freedom of speech, and personal opportunity are becoming more important than symbolic politics. In Maher's view, the influence of extreme wokeness has already peaked, if it hasn't collapsed entirely. That means Gen Z might not behave the way political strategists expect. A significant portion could lean toward Republicans who speak plainly, challenge cultural excesses, and focus on issues that genuinely shape their future, rather than returning to left-leaning politics.
Saying the Democrats should change course, away from the far left, but they're not doing it.
Right.
They should all read that article.
And to me, if they're not doing it, they're not paying attention to what's going to win. They just want to vent. I'm listening to Jasmine Crockett. I'm like, that verbiage ain't going to work. AOC could win the Senate seat and take it from Chuck Schumer in New York City, but that's not going to win a general election. Zohran Mamdani might win the mayor's seat in New York City, and Trump and his acolytes may be scared to death that it's going to permeate throughout the country because of what happened in Minnesota, what's happening in New York City, what potentially could happen in California. But that's not the entire country. So for me, I'm very, very worried about this.
Maher argues that if Democrats don't move back toward the political center and stop catering to the far left, winning elections will remain out of reach. His central point is that swing voters, independents, and moderates, not the loudest voices on social media, decide national outcomes. When party leaders let fringe ideas dominate, they risk alienating the very voters needed to build a governing majority. While figures like AOC and Jasmine Crockett may influence internal debates and energize active circles, their impact rarely extends beyond deep blue regions. These efforts excite a dedicated base but often reinforce the perception that the party is disconnected from real-world issues. Symbolic victories inside the party won't translate to electoral success unless Democrats embrace pragmatism and appeal to the broader middle of the country. That wraps up today's video. If you enjoyed it, please hit like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.